Hey folks, my name's Adam McIntosh and today I'm going to be talking to you about why it is important to support our lesser known artists. A quick note, as I define success through this video, I am going to be defining it as monetary success for the most part, as I'm sure there are many artists that are trying to work in their creative field. Obviously there are plenty of ways to define success, it doesn't always have to be monetary, but for the sake of this video, it will be. So first we need to define, who are we talking about? Who are the artists? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines an artist by one who professes and practices an imaginative art. Wikipedia describes an artist as a person engaged in an activity related to creating art, practicing the arts, or demonstrating an art. So depending on how we define art, this could really mean anything. This could mean your personality, you being you, could be considered a performance piece. But for the sakes of this video, we'll stick to the more traditional forms and the modern variants. Now in this video, I'm probably going to reference more of the visual and musical side of things just because that's what I'm involved in, that's what I understand the most. But let's not forget other artists like stand-up comics, dancers, theater performers, cake makers, sandwich artists I think is still up for debate, but the list goes on. Odds are, you probably know an artist, and if you think you don't, you probably know an artist. And if you are an artist, then you almost definitely know other artists. So you know who they are. Second question is that you're probably asking yourself is why should we support them? And honestly, I think that one's kind of simple and it just breaks down to this. Quite often, they don't have any. Let's say our artist did go to university. Now, there are some years through university where you have sort of peer support and someone to look to, but after you have your diploma and after you leave schooling, then it's often a road unpaved. Now that our artist has gone through schooling, perfected their talent through thousands of hours of practice and study, that person now needs to go learn how to self-market, how to open a business under their name, how to build a website, learning invoicing and accounting. Meanwhile, probably working 40 hours at a job unrelated to their studies to afford life's necessities with 30K plus loans hanging over their head. Meanwhile, what everybody else thinks you're doing. Students of other fields might take for granted that once they leave university, they can often apply for jobs, which come with a set of rules or management, which are going to guide them on how to apply their skills, and where to be and when, and what needs to be done by Friday. Our artists must not only be talented enough to gain recognition in their field, which often takes things like viral marketing these days, but to also have the managerial, marketing, and accounting skills of someone who has studied for a degree in those individually. Second reason being, I think it's important to think about how many artists do we lose every day because there is a lack of support. I will say that I do respect the trial by fire of becoming an artist somewhat because I do think it weeds out some people. I'm definitely not saying that everybody who draws a stick figure deserves a museum named after them, but I'm sure based on statistics alone, we are losing some potentially great artists in that process. I personally received basically zero support growing up as a aspiring artist. Not to blow my own trumpet, but I was a talented drawer by my mid-teens. But due to having literally zero support from any authority figure, I just felt lost and I felt that what I was doing with my time wasn't the right thing to be doing with my life. That led to me basically quitting drawing. I didn't draw for 6, 7, 8 years. Now I've just recently come back to it, but with far less passion because what I taught myself was that it was a poor investment of time. You could also say that I'm far behind in practice and no longer talented for my age. Thankfully, I found photography and videography at a right point in my life, and that rekindled my passion for creativity as a whole. And some might say that was by chance. And it makes me think, like, what if I didn't have that moment? Would I still just be working some dead-end job, completely wasting my creative potential? And more importantly, how many others quit? How many other incredibly talented people never get to make the art that they should have made? Never got the support? How many amazing songs do we never get to hear? How many amazing performances do we never get to see? All because someone didn't want to take the time to say, hey, you're talented and you could be a successful artist one day. Third and finally is how can we support them? Social media can obviously be one amazing tool for exposure, and a lot of people will tell you any dedicated artist doesn't need an online following, but it certainly can help. If you're creating the most amazing work the world could ever see, but no one ever sees it, well, it's going to be very hard to be successful. Best thing for us is that clicking like, subscribe, or leaving a comment is absolutely free, it takes very little time, and can actually have a huge impact. This is a little theoretical, but consider this. Jane shares her new painting to Facebook. She has 300 friends. John, who's one of her friends, decides to also share it because he likes it to his 300 friends. They have a few in common, and let's say there's another 275 people that Jane would have never have reached if John didn't share her painting.
Congratulations, John.
Those people might end up becoming fans, commissioners, etc. And just think if one of them decides to share. And these are really conservative numbers. A lot of us over our multiple social medias quite often have thousands, if not tens of thousands of followers. Consider too the rule of 6 degrees of separation, where it suggests that we're only ever 6 contacts away from anybody. The Queen, the President, whoever. So in theory, 6 shares or under could land your song on one of the top producers in the world's newsfeed. 6 retweets and your demo reel is on the Twitter feed of someone at Paramount Pictures. But even the humble like goes a long way. As I say, these people work incredibly hard on their craft, and sometimes just a like from someone you didn't expect it from, or nice work, can go a long way and honestly can lift your spirits for the rest of the day. In saying that, unfortunately, you can't pay rent with pats on the back. And on the less personal side, likes, comments, shares, and things like that does help the artist break through algorithms which are designed by these websites to kind of filter out non-successful posts. Ultimately, it's a good deed. So if not for anything else, do it for yourself. Be selfish. Help another human being that costs no money, very little time, and tell me you don't feel good about it. The second way you can support our artists is the obvious one. It's money. But I don't want to make this video too much about money, so I won't stick on this too long. There are a lot of ways to consider. There are things like Patreon, etc., where you can support artists monthly with a monetary value which is decided by yourself. You can consider doing things like dropping a couple of coffees. That's always the example that's used, but even like myself, I just cancelled a Netflix subscription last night, which I haven't watched in months, and I plan to use that money to go and support another artist. It doesn't strictly have to be monetary either. Things like donating supplies or giving an artist some space to display their artwork for free, or musicians some free studio time, those kind of things can go a long way too. And if you're considering supporting an artist and you don't know how, you can always ask him. So that just about wraps it up. I really wanted to make this video today because it's something I'm truly passionate about, and I think you should be too. I think it's important in a time where Facebook ads are targeted to you, the content you see on Facebook and Instagram is paid to be promoted to you. The cookie cutter trend of the week culture is thriving. Artistic censorship and shadow banning aren't just rumors. I think we need art, and I think we might need it now more than ever. So support our artists and we can all reap the benefits. Thank you for watching. Please do consider sharing this video if you think the message is important. Share it with your parents who never understood what you're doing. Share it with your artist friend to show your support. Share it to your art teacher. Share it to whoever. And until next time, take it easy. Happy creating. Peace.